Unseen Talks. Success stories with a bite of ADVACAM inside.
What unseen things will be revealed in this episode? Well, today we dive into the secrets of business development and market evangelization. Our guest is a salesman with strong scientific background. He has over 17 years of experience introducing the most advanced imaging technologies to users around the globe. I'm very happy to welcome here in Unseen Talk podcast Mr. Thorsten Pieper from Quantum Design Europe. Hello.
Nice meeting you, and thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, we are so happy. And I'm also excited that my colleague Jiří Šesták from the sales department of ADVACAM has joined us. Hello, Jiří.
Hello to everyone. Thank you for the invitation.
Thorsten, first question. As I mentioned, you have a scientific career. And do you ever miss the hands-on lab work now as a product manager?
During my education, lab work is a part of the education, and it's quite important as a preparation for your final profession. Nowadays, the main part of the job is picking up the phone and reply to emails. However, yes, I do sometimes miss the work in the laboratory. And I do have the opportunity to do that at Quantum Design, to do my own measurements when it's necessary to find out specific answers for our customers.
Yeah, so it's not dismissed entirely. You still work in lab a bit.
A bit.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. I know you were doing some cool research on topics like cholesterol influence on membranes. This is just an AI illustration. I have not better image, but could you explain what was the goal of your research?
It's not a bad image. Actually, I did use a model system for a biological membrane and to find out the properties or the characteristics of Brownian motion of single molecules moving inside these membranes.
Yeah, the chaotic Brown motion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there are some also screenshots from your dissertation. And as I learned, you already used some imaging technologies in the early 2005 or something like that.
In the early 2000s, that was my dissertation to work on single molecule research using single photon counting detectors. Actually.
Really?
Unfortunately, they had a single pixel only.
Only one.
This picture showing a camera is an exception. I did a couple of experiments using a camera, but the main part of this work was done using avalanche photodiodes, which are very fast and sensitive.
Is it comparable to today's photon counting technology?
It is somehow comparable. And ADVACAM is an innovator in this field, multiplying this concept, achieving higher resolution with many thousands of pixels.
However, you turned your life into sales and business. Maybe you're product manager. You do sales for Quantum Design. How did it happen? How a scientist is transferred to a business guy?
At the end of my scientific work, I realized that doing research only does not satisfy me. What I missed was communicating with people. And that was my motivation to look into other professions. And I found out that it is not necessarily being a teacher communicating science, but you can also work as a salesman communicating science.
Is communication also an important part of the job for you as a salesman?
Yeah, it's the key. It's the key skill. Being able to communicate the parameters and the added values of the things that you sell, and a little bit with the emotion. It's the key. It's the key for success.
Speaking about emotions, do you remember your best deal you have ever done? You are still enjoying at the moment, and I will ask the same question to you. Maybe then.
I still like the job, and these situations occur frequently. I remember one, and I want to give one example from the past, when I met a younger PhD student on a trade show in Munich, and we discussed a possible experiment about quantum interference, and he had an idea of visualizing the quantum interference, and we discussed possible imaging solutions for that. I suggested a camera, and then it took 1 or 2 years to get the funding and do the actual test experiment in his lab. So he invited me, and we did this experiment together, and we were unsure if it was working or not. And surprisingly, the experiment worked on the first try. I was very surprised about that, and was very happy to see it working in practice with me attending the experiment.
So the reason why you like this deal is not the profit itself, it is that it worked, actually.
The demo experiment actually led to a sales of 2 cameras, but you are correct. It was not the profit itself that made me satisfied, but the fact that we gained scientific reputation by that, because later it turned out that the student's boss was actually Anton Zeilinger, who later received the Nobel Prize in Physics for this kind of research. And
that's very good.
I'm happy to somehow contribute it to this.
Yeah, very good.
By being the salesperson.
Very good line. Very good line in your CV, I guess.
I don't write that.
And you, Jiří, what's your best deal you remember?
Talking about ADVACAM, I'm very proud of the work that we have done during last couple of years to gain new customers in industry. Because we see clearly the potential there, and convincing the industrial customers to implement ADVACAM detectors into their machines is always like amazing feeling when you get the very first order. It takes months, maybe sometimes year, maybe even more, and when this process is successfully finished, it's always like great, like honor, because we have like long-term partners. It means that we have like partnership with industrial customers. We work with big names in industry, but if I have to underline one thing for ADVACAM, I would like to say that new cooperation that we have with quantum design that we opened 2 years ago, which is leading to a global partnership. Quantum design is going to be our global partner in distribution. I think this was really a great moment for me when we discussed and agreed that we will go this way.
It's like great step, the scale up.
As I say, in business, you need a partnership and trust. These are the values that are the most important for me.
When it's coming to customers and the trust and communication, we also mentioned. You guys, do you find that meeting in person is still the best way how to do the sales and product management and so on, the business, or nowadays online tools, meetings, and digital tools are even more effective? What do you prefer personally?
Absolutely, the personal contact is a must still. So it's still the old way, the old-fashioned way, meeting in person at the conferences or at the customer side. And of course, it's much easier than to maintain the personal relationship on the screen, or through the screen. But if you never met these guys like in person and you have to develop something like online, it's, from my point of view, extremely complicated.
I agree with Jiří. I do appreciate the possibilities that we have today with digital meetings and doing webinars or podcasts. But they only help because they are so efficient to find out about customers' intentions and requirements. But there's nothing better than meeting in person for two reasons, basically. One reason is that I do have a chance to see the experiment and understand it much better than in a slideshow. And the second reason is that the customer will get a better feeling what my intentions are, and so I can create a better and a trustful relationship with him.
Unseen Talks.
Hello again in the Unseen Talks podcast. Thorsten, as I mentioned, you work at the Quantum Design Europe for 17 years, over 17 years. So you are in the field for a while. Can you introduce us the company? What's its scope actually and its vision?
Quantum Design was founded as a US manufacturer of cryo and magnetometry equipment. Our German company has been founded approximately 40 or 50 years ago as a distributor for a different American manufacturer of optical equipment. So when we are talking about quantum design today, we are talking about a distributor company that represents other manufacturers from outside Germany who need us as a sales channel with skilled people who are able to explain scientific products.
But you have also your own products.
We do also have our own products supervised by Quantum Design in San Diego. And some of them, the most recent one, is a Quantum Design microscope, which is partly developed in Pfungstadt.
Okay, from your perspective, how the world of imaging has changed over the 17 years you are in the field, or maybe even more as a scientist before. Where are the improvements?
The older ones here in this round and in the audience remember the transition from analog photography to digital photography. Yeah. I have been part of this process and appreciated the innovation that we've seen, giving us access to much better pictures and many more pictures than that could be taken than in the past. Then later we have seen a transition from digital photography to mobile phone photography, for example, giving us even access to more pictures. And in scientific imaging, very similar things have happened. Imaging became much easier, more sensitive.
And if we look just at the process of adoption by industry, and we use the analogy you just used for classic photography, it was, I think, adopted by industry and by public somewhere in 90s, widely. Where are we now in terms of our technology of the photon counting imaging and so on? Are we in 90s, or what point of the adoption process are we witnessing right now?
Good question. Photon counting technology has been used in the scientific environment for a while already. What we see now is the transfer of research technology into a commercial product. And ADVACAM is part of this process of making a single photon counting detector actually a useful product on a daily basis for a scientist.
Do you consider that the industry is right now opening their eyes to it, or are we further?
You know, there are two trends from my point of view. First one is like that new photon counting technology is like as a new generation for existing, for example, X-ray imaging or NDT in industry. So this is one thing. Another one is the photon counting opens completely new opportunities.
New qualities.
New qualities and new, of course, also new business opportunities in the fields that cannot be served or done with the existing detection technology. So talking about specific things, it's the composite industry. So the guys producing the composite parts, which is the aerospace mostly. So with photon counting, they can do the standard NDT, which was not possible before.
Yeah.
So new generation in existing technology and completely new opportunities. So we are very optimistic for the future.
Yeah. When this such technology is emerging, your point of view, what's the essential thing to do to draw attention of the industry? What do you underline?
I think there are two doors into the world of industry that we can take. One door is to offer a product that achieves the same scientific results as before at much lower costs. The other door is to create a product that gives access to another dimension, to a new information. This is what ADVACAM achieves with their single photon counting detectors. These devices not only offer intensity values, they offer possibilities to measure X and Y coordinates, the time of arrival, and the energy spectrum of these photon events.
Do the customers understand these terms you just mentioned? Like, these terms you just mentioned, the keywords, the buzzwords, maybe. Do they know about what you are talking?
Some of them immediately get the message and understand the possibilities and the potential of these products. Others have never heard of that before, and that requires information and communication. This is what we do. That's part of our job.
We are back in Unseen Talks podcast with Thorsten and Jiří. Hello, guys. Actually, Thorsten, you are in Prague right now to attend a workshop here at ADVACAM, where you are going to work with one of our photon counting X-ray cameras. Jiří, what pictures are they going to take and why the workshop takes place?
We work with Quantum Design as our distribution partner in many countries of the world. So we invited a couple of salespeople from Quantum Design to transfer the know-how, so to give the training, but it's not very much theoretical. It's very much practical. So we want the Quantum Design colleagues to touch the technology and basically in the laboratory to do some X-ray pictures. So we really believe that hands-on experience is an inevitable thing for a sales guy, being able to transfer also this information to the final customer. So that's why we do it on a very practical way.
Okay, so a salesman who is not a technician, he or she has some knowledge, of course, but he or she is able to take these pictures. And after how long training?
So there will be a short introduction how to do it, and so I think you can do such a picture, within 30 minutes. So you never touched ADVACAM detector, but after 30 minutes of training, including the hardware and the software, you can do such an image, with an X-ray source in our X-ray box.
Oh, Thorsten, you have undergone such training in the past also. What's your opinion about the technology? Has it surprised you in any way?
What fascinated me from the beginning was the simplicity of differentiating between radiation. It's quite easy to distinguish alpha radiation from beta and gamma radiation because they leave different traces on the detector.
So it's also connected with the spectral imaging capabilities where we can determine the material and so on.
Yes.
The technology gives you lots of opportunities for using it in the different applications. But these combined characteristics of the chip, including the spectral measurements, they can be used in different kind of applications. It's not only the imaging, but which is what we generally call particle tracking. And there are special applications like XRD, XRF, and so on. So the technology gives the unique opportunity and unique access for the measurements in different kind of applications.
Okay. Quantum Design is collaborating with ADVACAM to distribute our devices, photon counting cameras, globally. How the partnership started?
It was easy. I was googling the potential partners in Germany, and I found Thorsten, on the Quantum Design web. So I wrote an email, and he replied. So then we started talking about the possibilities. Then I invited Thorsten to come to Prague, and we started the discussion about what to do, how to do, and then it evolved step by step. And then we met the management in San Diego in the United States, in the headquarters of the Quantum Design. And then we discussed the details, and we step by step also opened the conversation with the local offices of Quantum Design in the different countries. So it was as easy as that.
Do you, Thorsten, remember this very first contact?
Yes, I remember getting an email from my CEO asking me, Thorsten, could this be an interesting product for us? Because he wanted me to evaluate the quality.
What have you done?
And my reply was, yes, actually, I'm looking for something like that. It does fill a gap in our portfolio because we don't have X-ray detectors yet, especially not those with single photon capabilities. And so my first reply was, yes, it's interesting. Let's have a meeting with these guys. And it can be as easy like that. In other cases, it can be more difficult. And I'm very glad that we established such a nice relationship between our companies.
We are too. You guys in Quantum Design are present all over the world. I can mention USA, India, Japan, Europe, and more. Do customers in different countries want different things? What is specific about German customers? What do they need?
Let me give a diplomatic answer. In fact, we do all enjoy the international environment that we work in. And as a salesman, I acknowledge the fact that all the stereotypes that you know about other countries, they are actually true. Which means we try to avoid placing Germans all over the world. We prefer to work with local people who understand subtleties in communication. And I think this is part of our success story, that we work like that.
Okay, and if you want to sell something to German customer, what do you have to really be bold at?
The traditional German customer, or the typical German customer, does like to read spec sheets and compare with other manufacturers and competitors, and make sure he's getting the best possible product.
Yeah, that's very cool that we can now, thanks to the collaboration with Quantum Design, use the local expert on local markets. Right, Jiří?
This is exactly as you're saying. So the local presence with the distributing partner is always good, because they know the cultural differences. They can help us to understand the customer's needs. For just to add something more, we do a lot of application. I mentioned some applications, so we tend to also do together for the final customer what we call the proof of concept, because the technology is so new and it's so advanced. So we try to take the first measurements and convince the customer that for his particular application the technology will work. So it's always education process for us to understand more the customer needs and the customer applications. And of course, then on the other side, we want to convince the customer that this is the perfect way for him. So sometimes the spec, of course, we have the spec sheets and things like this, but the experiment always helps.
And these initial experiments are usually done in their laboratory, in their setup, or here in Prague?
Can be both.
Can be both.
We can do it on the customer side. We can do here in Prague in the lab, building our own setup.
What's the next goal of Quantum Design and Thorsten Pieper? What's your next goal in next years?
Unlike the political situation suggests, we are not intending to invest in degrowth, but rather grow the company together with ADVACAM, make it bigger and better known in the scientific environment.
If there is someone young listening to the podcast and want to take similar career path as you, turn a scientist into a product manager or salesman into the business, to enjoy the communication and to have actual impact maybe on someone who gets the Nobel Prize later. What do you advise to them?
I think there are two major motivations that you can have. The first one should be that you are interested to gain a broad knowledge about science. And the second motivation is to enjoy communicating with people. And this is what I found in the job working for quantum design. And it makes me feel happy and satisfied.
I'm so glad. Thank you, Thorsten, for coming to the Yancy Talk podcast. Thank you, Jiří, as well.
Thank you very much.
And thanks to you as well for listening to the podcast till the very end. Have a nice day, and please stay tuned for more success stories with a bite of ADVACAM inside.
Unseen Talks are brought to you by ADVACAM, a world-leading producer of single-photon imaging and particle tracking cameras. We're imaging the unseen.